Good Sunday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great this Lord's Day. We got a Watchmen update out there. We got some big news items. Cholera. There's a cholera outbreak spreading across 31 countries now. What you need to know about that. We got a food recall that has been expanded to Walmart, Kroger, and Payless. We got other grocery chains, smaller grocery chains also impacted by this recall. It's a significant health one. You can't just cook it away either. We got California State Police tasked with actual policing. I know it's written right here. It's crazy to believe. And they're also going to protect for free a multimillionaire on her book tour. So that's, California, you're making choices with your money. Can't say they're good choices. We got the state of Nevada has been hacked. This is impacting government services all this past week. And the government is very much not talking about this, doesn't want to tell us anything, or the citizens of Nevada. Food banks are running completely dry. So many people need help and assistance, and companies aren't sending as much food supplies to the food banks as they used to. And we have information, some tests have been run by some of the Watchmen community on how to protect your garden from the sky stuff. We got that and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts to get out of stocks and bonds, get into something safer like gold, silver, or platinum. If you want to do that with your retirement account, or if you want to learn more about doing that with your retirement account, there'll be a link at the end of the video for you to find out more. So let's start off with this one. The WHO, the World Health Organization, which the United States has withdrawn from due to its absurd stupidity during the pandemic that went a few years ago. Anyway, they've warned that there's a worsening global cholera outbreaks happening in 31 countries, urging countries to mount a swift response. Now, just because the United States is out of the WHO and doesn't want the WHO dictating health policy or policy decisions inside the United States is still the leading country in combating infectious diseases throughout the world. The US CDC is actually in so many countries you wouldn't believe it. Almost as many countries as the United States military is in. You know what I'm saying. That's a lot. Between January 1st and August 17th, the WHO tracked 409,000 cases plus change and 4,700 people not making it because of the cholera. Primarily in Eastern Mediterranean countries and Africa, though South America and the Caribbean are also seeing cases of cholera as well. Moving over to California, the California Highway Patrol, which you think they patrol the highway, but they've been tasked with protecting ex-Vice President Kamala Harris after President Trump has pulled the Secret Service protection from her. Now, her 6 months as vice president are up. She got an extra free month of Secret Service protection. This is what happens to every vice president, like ever. So we don't protect our vice presidents forever. We just protect them until the term's over, and then 6 months after. She was trying to get special treatment, but nope. But now she's getting special treatment from the California Highway Patrol. And also, the state police there in California have been tasked with doing crime sweeps of major cities by Gavin Newsom. So basically, under threat of President Trump sending in National Guard or other federal agencies to do crime sweeps of very dangerous cities, Gavin Newsom has been shamed in actually policing California cities. We'll see how good of a job he does, but when you catch people who have committed violent crimes and then you immediately release them back onto the street, some people might, not me, but some people out there might question how effective your policing strategy is. Okay, me too. I'm asking that too. The United States has blocked Palestinian Liberation Organization President Mahmoud Abbas. He's not being allowed into the United States in order to go to the UN General Assembly session in New York next month. He and 80 other Palestinian officials have had their visas revoked. Now, of course, the United Nations meets in New York City, and the United States is required by law to allow any member states to send their representatives into the United States in order to get them to the UN. However, Palestine isn't a country, and it's certainly not a member state of the United Nations. So we don't have to let them in. And in fact, we've done this before. We've done this back in the past when Yasser Arafat wasn't behaving. We revoked his visas, stating once again that he's not actually his country doesn't exist. It's not an actual country or member state of the UN. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is a very busy guy, he's doing everything. It's crazy. Blamed the Palestinian Liberation Organization for undermining peace efforts and for seeking, quote, the unilateral recognition of a conjectural Palestinian state. In other words, those are territories that belong to Israel that these people want to declare their independence, but they don't have the military capability of doing so. They want to be recognized. They don't want to make any concessions, and they want to be recognized while they're holding Israeli hostages, which I think most of us would kind of go, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You don't give terrorists what they want while they're holding hostages. This is that, and then also the Palestinian Liberation Organization is still refusing to condemn acts of terrorism consistently. They occasionally condemn here and there, but they don't consistently come down on acts of terrorism, particularly the October 7th attacks on Israel. The United States warship USS Lake Erie was seen crossing the Panama Canal, and that's not big news right there, but it is crossing over into the Caribbean, where it will then deploy off Venezuela's coast. It is there, quote, for anti-drug trafficking operations. We have a number of destroyers that have deployed off the coast of Venezuela, and a whole bunch of Marines, 4,000 Marines, based on 2 landing craft ships, making a lot of people wonder if the United States is getting ready to do something to Venezuela. We've done decapitation strikes. We've done takeovers of countries before in a very similar way. That may be what's getting ready to happen. Or we may be really just starting to use the U.S. Navy to go after the cartels in these different areas. All right, the Food and Drug Administration of the United States has expanded its radioactive shrimp recall. Yeah. Radioactive shrimp. We already reported on the radioactive shrimp, but apparently there's more radioactive shrimp out there than what we were led to believe initially. Now we're starting to see this covers not just only a few niche grocery stores, but it's expanding the cesium-137 radioactive shrimp recall to Kroger, Mercado cooked medium peel tail off shrimp. It's a mouthful. As well as Walmart. We got 17 states included, and then Kroger, as well as Baker's, Gerby's, JC, Mariano's, Metro Market, that's a pretty big one I think, Payless Supermarkets, and Pick and Save. Any of those stores, if you bought shrimp at recently, you might want to see if they if they have been recalled. You can't cook the cesium out of them, okay? Radioactive cesium, no. You can't get rid of it. You need to throw that stuff away. You need to throw it away and get new shrimp, or take your shrimp back to the store, have them throw it away and give you a refund. So if you have already eaten the cesium, this is where you would want to take some iodine. So potassium iodide would block your thyroid's take up of the cesium. That's what it does. It blocks your thyroid from picking up that cesium. Now, where did this cesium come from? Now, I don't want to point fingers at any Japanese, any countries out there, but a certain country in recent memory has taken a whole lot of radioactive stuff, including cesium-137, and dumped hundreds of thousands of gallons of toxic radioactive water into the ocean. And the Chinese were very upset about this. Basically, everyone around Japan was very upset with this plan. Like, what do we do with all this stuff? Well, why don't we just dump it into the ocean? It'll be fine there. Well, apparently, it's ending up in the shrimp. Radioactive shrimp, thanks Japan. Can I definitively say it's Japan? No. Can I conjecture that it's Japan? Yes, absolutely. Nobody else has been dumping cesium out there. Excuse me. A federal judge has issued an order. Yes, another rogue judge blocking Trump's effort to expand speedy deportations. Federal judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from carrying out speedy deportations of illegal aliens. Let's just call them what the law calls them, shall we? Detained in the interior of the United States. So can't send them anywhere because some judge in robe said that we can't follow the law. We need to get control enough of the Senate that we can impeach these people, because we need a whole lot of judges impeached. SDB says, Mishawaka, Indiana, Kroger, no canned pasta, name brand or Kroger brand. Did have lots of ingredients in that aisle to make your own pasta, just absolutely no canned stuff. I bought potatoes today, but I got the only decent bag there. The rest were awful. Big dark marks, broken potatoes. I've never seen that before. Warm wool, so good, says Southwest Washington State. Birds, no blue jays, no robins, no woodpeckers, no sparrows. Only a couple of grouse this whole season from spring until today. I haven't even seen our hawk couple who've had a large nest in a fir tree on our property for over a decade. It's silent mostly here. Granny Jane's Fudge says the state of Nevada has been hacked. The early Sunday morning, the incursion occurred last week. Excuse me, my throat is dry. Well, the state offices have been closed all this past week. Only two departments were not affected due to being on a separate system. The FBI is investigating, but very little information has been provided to the residents of Nevada. Spitfired says the Treasure Coast on the east side of Florida hasn't seen one bird, one squirrel, no lizards. That's really hard to believe. We have wild rabbits, young and old, in our community, but have not seen even one of them. What's going on in our world? Eyes Wide says, I received a breaking news notice. Bank of America and Chase Bank are going to be closing down for a whole weekend for tech issues. Banks usually close down for a few hours, or their websites shut down for a few hours in the evening. They don't usually take a whole weekend off. That's kind of unusual. So anybody knows what's going on with that, please let us know. Make sure you use the word update in the comments, right? The Trinity says, in Northern California this year, we haven't seen any sparrows, blue jays, starlings, or squirrels. Generally, in our area with lots of trees and wildlife, it's strange not to even hear crickets. I'm totally saddened by this. We're just getting these reports from everywhere across the United States. A few people chiming in that they're not seeing those same problems where they are, but most people are. Dawn says, Southwest Florida, in my area, the pelicans and dolphins have been few this summer. Pelicans have just started reappearing, but I've never noticed it before in summer. Julie's says, North Georgia Food Bank. We are still having difficulties getting food to stock in our food bank. It is in critical status now. Many of us volunteers, just under 30 of us, have donated items monthly, but we have also been asked to scrub out our home pantries and to bring in everything that we can. We have had to cut back on what each family gets several times over the years, and now may have to cut further or possibly turn families away, which would break our hearts. We serve about 155 families last month. Ibu Guru says, coastal Connecticut. Although we have had a few heat waves here this summer, generally temperatures are much cooler. Spring was late and chilly as well. Now, overnight temperatures are in the low 60s, even in the 50s, at least 10 to 15 degrees below usual. Of course, that's not being reported by the mainstream media. Never had one hot night, highs of 70s or low 80s all summer, even during heat waves. Temperatures cooled quickly from the 100 down to low 70s, especially a vicious winter and very high heat bills. Connecticut energy costs are going up, and it's very bad. Kenneth says, driving to work in Memphis down a highway on the outskirts of the city, we used to see a dozen vultures sitting on the light post. Now we don't see a single one. We kept our bird feeder empty for several weeks. Used to, after 2 days, have birds fighting for the seed and squirrels on the ground getting their dropped seeds. Now in the last 5 days, we've only seen 4 birds. Something is really wrong. That's a general consensus of our Watchmen community, is there is something really bad with the insects, the birds, and the squirrels that we haven't seen in our lifetimes. Jay says, I picked up a load in Loretta, Texas. I'm currently in St. Louis, Missouri. I believe I've driven over 1,000 miles without one bug splat on the entire big rig windshield. Normally, it is plastered with bugs, necessitating pulling over often at truck stops just to clean the windows, or rather say, windshield. Totally amazing that there are no bugs whatsoever. Also, I've noticed, as others people have, that the birds have disappeared too. Something very strange has been going on for a few days. I would not be able to go over 150 miles without having to clean my windshield before. Mikey says, I worked for a foster farm at one time. They take the bones and internal organs and feathers, along with the sick chickens, and cook it down into a cat and dog food meal. This they sell to companies that make the animal food. They make much higher prices on it than they do from selling chicken. Why give you the bone when they can make another product for more money? The regulators won't let them just make animal food with the chickens, so they do it this way. Without the skin, the chicken is worthless because all the vitamins are in the skin and bones. The feathers are full of collagen and protein. They don't waste a thing. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us again today. If you have more updates, make sure you use the word update, of course. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right there on the screen. Click on that, fill out your information, and they'll get in contact with you. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.